Okay, so there's one thing everyone in the market agrees on right now, and that's usually when you should get nervous. The idea is simple. Big tech can obviously afford this insane artificial intelligence build-out because they are the richest, most cash-generating companies that have ever existed. Just look at the profits. But I went digging into the actual numbers, and there are two things hiding in plain sight that break that story. One is a date. The other is buried in a footnote in their own filings. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Start with the date. Their spending on artificial intelligence gear is growing about 70% a year. The cash their actual businesses throw off is growing about 23%. One line is way steeper than the other, so they were always going to cross. And the math says they crossed this quarter. Here's why that matters. For years, this build-out was basically free money. The cash coming in from selling ads and cloud and software was so much bigger than what they spent on data centers that the spending just didn't matter. They could fund it out of pocket and barely feel it. But add up the free cash flow of the biggest spenders, and this quarter it touches zero. That's the crossover. It's the exact moment the build-out stops paying for itself, and every extra dollar has to come from somewhere else, which means borrowing. Now the footnote, and this is where it gets genuinely wild. Because you might say, fine, the profits are still huge, they can just borrow against those. But how big those profits look depends on one boring accounting choice almost nobody checks. When a company buys a server, it doesn't count the whole cost at once. It spreads it out over the years it expects that server to last. That's called depreciation. And here's the trick. The longer you claim the server lasts, the less cost you count each year, and the bigger your profit looks. This isn't a theory, it's in Microsoft's own filing. A few years back, they decided their servers don't last 4 years anymore, they last 6. Same servers. They just changed the number. And that single tweak, claiming the gear lasts 2 years longer, added $3.7 billion to their operating profit in 1 year. $3.7 billion of extra profit created by editing one assumption. Google did it. Meta did it. Everybody stretched the life of their servers, and everybody's profit got a little fatter for it. Except here's the problem. Artificial intelligence chips do not age slowly. The top chips run flat out, they run hot, and a new generation 2 or 3 times faster shows up basically every year. So claiming that gear lasts 5 or 6 years, when the real useful life is closer to 3, is a stretch. And when you undercount that wear and tear across the whole industry, one well-known investor, Michael Burry, estimates it overstates big tech's profits by more than $170 billion over the next few years, 20% too high. The cushion they'd borrow against is partly made of accounting. Do you want the tell that this is real? Watch what the smartest operator in the room just did. Amazon quietly shortened a chunk of its servers back down to 5 years, and in the filing, it said why in plain English, because of the increased pace of technology, particularly artificial intelligence. The company closest to the metal is undoing the flattering assumption because it can see the gear aging faster. That cut its own net income by $1 billion. They chose the honest number over the pretty one. I'll put the two pieces together because this is the whole thing. The moment their spending outruns their cash flow is right now, and the profits they'd borrow against are flattered by an accounting choice that's getting harder to defend. So what are they doing? Borrowing. Last year, these companies issued around $120 billion in bonds, more than 4 times their normal pace. The build-out is going debt-financed. At exactly the moment the cash runs dry and the profit cushion thins, that's not a company printing money. That's a company writing checks it now has to finance. Now the honest part, because I'm not here to scare you. None of this means the market crashes tomorrow or that artificial intelligence is fake. Demand is real, these are still incredible businesses, and they can carry debt for a long time. This isn't a short-it call. It's a lens. It just means the easy story, they can obviously afford it, quietly stopped being true this quarter. From here, it's a financing story and an accounting story, not a free money story. And those are very different games with very different risks. Here's the read I'd leave you with. When everyone agrees a trade is a sure thing because the companies are just too rich to fail, go find the moment the money actually changes shape. For big tech and artificial intelligence, that moment is the crossover, the quarter the build-out stops funding itself and starts borrowing against profits that are partly an accounting choice. Don't watch the hype this quarter. Watch the cash flow statement and watch who's lending. That's the asymmetry. I'm Frankie. One Contra Ryan, read a day. Subscribe.